It's the Christopher Morris Weekend Spectacular, where all weekend long at Fans Not Experts Movie Month, we'll be highlighting films that Christopher Morris has been after me for years to watch. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Det er alarmcentralen.
Jeg har kørt ud i cykel og slået mit knæ.
Lige på det. Det er alarmcentralen.
Jeg er lige blevet overfaldet og bestjålet. Du bruger politiet lige nu.
Ja, du har taget narkotika, er det korrekt?
Jeg er fangen.
Men det er jo ligesom din egen skyld, ikke?
Chef. Du er heldigvis tilbage på gaden efter i morgen. Det er jo dejligt.
Det ringer.
Det er alarmcentralen. Hallo? Taler jeg med Iben?
Hej, skat.
Har du drukket?
Nej, det har jeg ikke.
Ja, for helvede.
Hvem er du sammen med? Iben ved personen, du er sammen med, du har ringet 112.
Nej.
Er du blevet bortført?
Ja.
Iben?
Hvem er det? I skal ikke blande jer.
Kommer mor nogensinde hjem?
Jeg er fra politiet. Vi er vogtere. Og en, der har brug for os.
Det er ikke din opgave, det her.
Kør efter.
Han blikker af. Han er ved at køre motorvejen. Han må se dig.
Jeg tager en 6-årig pige, der sidder alene hjemme. Jeg har lovet hende, at hendes mor kommer
Så
hjem.
stopper du.
I'm going to watch 30 movies, a movie each day in June. Day 26 of year 8 of movie month, and the podcast will start soon. He's going to watch 30 movies, some good films and some lowbrow. Year 8 of Fans Not Experts Movie Month, and the podcast starts right now. Year 8 of Movie Month, that much you already know. Year 8 of Movie Month, and now it's time for the show.
Color me your color, baby. Color me your car. Color me your color, darling. I know who you are. Come up off your color chart. I know where you're coming from. Call me anytime. Call me.
Saturday, June 26th, the 26th day of movie month, the final Saturday of movie month. We're in the final countdown, and you know what? I'm pretty sure I know exactly what my last movies are going to be. I mapped it out. We're going till Wednesday. Obviously, it's the final day, and yep, I am fairly certain I know what the final 5 will be, and I feel like well, I'm not going to say anymore. Actually, I don't want to say anymore to give away what the last couple days could be. Let's focus on today, right now, where I went and watched from 2018, Den Sklidici. I assume that's how it's pronounced. I barely speak the English. But once again, I'm back reading a movie. Because remember, kids, dubbed movies are for people who hate movies. If you want to watch a movie, you watch it as it was created, and you work around it with subtitles. And today I watched the Danish thriller, The Guilty, which again, I guess in Danish is Den Sklidici. Yeah. I wanted to say Sklidici, but they say certain words so quickly. It's like Sklidici. So that's just my guess. This movie I watched. It's on Hulu. How did I know about this movie? Well, I just know things, certain things. Okay, let's be honest. My buddy Chris, who you may know, he's been on Marchie McFly. He's been on Joggist. And he does another podcast with me, Fine Movies, Fine Spirits. It's out there. There's a new episode that is recorded, just hasn't been edited, will be out soon. And he has been after me for a little while to watch this movie, as well as some other movies. And I've been saving them, and it's time for me to deliver on my constant texting of yes, I'll get to them. But yes, today I got to one. And this movie, very short. It's like, I think it was under 90 minutes. Short movie, subtitles, and yet, with all that, it was, I guess the word would say, excellent. That's what I would use. Now, folks, I understand that you probably didn't see this movie. It's from 2018. It's Danish. It's subtitled, and it's not a super well-known film in the United States of America. Even though it was it was the Danish submission. I read quickly. I thought it was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film at the Academy Awards. It was not. It was what the Danish folks, Denmark. Yes, Danish people live in Denmark because, look, folks, let's be honest. We all know at this point, I'm a bit of a dum-dum. But now I know the Danish people, I'm positive now the Danish people live in Denmark. I knew that already. Come on, let's be honest. I was just joking with you. But I when I said it, I didn't trust that knowledge because, like I said, I'm a bit of a dope. But I'm smart enough to have watched this movie. I'm smart enough to read while watching this movie. I was a little nervous because one time on a Hulu movie, I think it was Another Round, they didn't have the subtitles on by default. I had to turn them on. And this time I checked on Hulu and it said Spanish subtitles. I said, what the hell? But luckily the English subtitles were baked into the movie itself. It wasn't part of, I had to turn on and off for Hulu. So what is this movie about? Who does it star? It stars nobody you know. It's written and directed by nobody you know. Directed by Gustav Moyler, who co-wrote it with Emil Nygard Albertsen. And it's starring Jakob, or Jacob Sedergren, who has been in exactly nothing I've ever seen. And like I said, I've never seen him before. I don't speak his language, and yet he made me feel what he was feeling, because that's what good acting and good filmmaking do. Now, why do I keep talking about this one guy? Because this guy is about 97% of the movie. There are a few people that we see, but for the most part, for the entire part, we never leave this guy's side. And for the most part, he's on his own or on the phone. Yes, you heard me. This is almost a one-man feature. I feel like it almost could be a one-man play where this guy is on stage and he's taking the calls, and we hear people on the other end, but the only person we ever see is this one man, and his reaction. And that's kind of what this movie is. Just to give you a quick synopsis. So he is a police officer in Copenhagen, and he is assigned. He's been assigned to like their version of 911 emergency services, where he takes calls, and he gets a couple calls where you could tell he's just kind of like brushing people off, like, oh, you're drunk, you shouldn't have done drugs, or, oh, you know, okay, we'll send someone over to you right away. You know, nothing major. And then he gets the call from this woman who is like, hello, sweetie. And he's like, huh? I think you might have the wrong number. She's like, hello, sweetie. And you hear this other guy in the background going, like talking. And this main guy, his name is Asger. I almost said Ansgar. He was like, ma'am, can you not talk to me? Are you not supposed to be on the phone with me? Yes. Is there someone else in the car with you? Yes. And from here on out, it's this guy's like kind of his mission to save this woman. And this woman's, you know, said she's been kidnapped, and she's in a car with someone who won't take her, like won't you know, won't let her go. And he's like, who are you on the phone with? He's pretending to be on the phone with his daughter. And all of a sudden, this guy who was like maybe a little while, he's almost able to kind of leave for the night, but he's, you know, gets caught up in this call. And it's kind of like you just stay with him on this call and the different calls he has to make. He has to call a different dispatch because they can't find out where this person is. They can only ping the cell so much. He can tell, he can kind of call a boss of his in another precinct who's telling him to go home. Don't focus on these things you need to deal with tomorrow. The movie actually starts with, sounds like a reporter calling him saying, we have some questions about tomorrow. And they never, ever say kind of exactly what happened, but we do sort of, well, I guess he does kind of say, he explains it to this woman. He kind of finally, you know, speaks to himself and not speaks to himself, kind of to connect to this woman, to calm her down. He tells her something about himself. And we find out a little bit along the way that, oh, you got to deal with tomorrow. He calls his partner at one point, and he's like, I'm nervous about tomorrow. We got to stick to the plan. And then, you know, later on, it's like, I can't lie. He goes, or he says, don't lie for me. He goes, damn it, I already lied for you. We have to stick to the plan now. I can't change my story. And then later we come to find out that he is having some sort of hearing to clear himself from a shooting. Because they kept saying, you'll be done with this and you'll be back on the street, you know, back on the beat with your partner, just the way it should be. Don't worry, you'll get through this. And later on, you know, when he's talking to the woman, he kind of tells exactly what happened. This movie is very intense as far as like the stress you feel for this guy, because you feel like him, where you have no control of what's going on in the story, or you have very little control of what's going on in the story. Well, you as the viewer have no control, but this guy gives, you know, has only so much he can do. But he kind of does like the best he can do, and he does things where I think he shouldn't be doing. He pushes things a little too far. He finds out who the woman is, calls the home of the woman, gets a call from his 6-year-old daughter, who is there left alone with their baby son, with her baby brother, and she's scared, and he's like, don't worry. And he gets part of the story that the dad came, and there was a fight, and the dad left, and there was a knife, and there were people yelling, and they said, he's like, go to your brother. She goes, my dad said not to go in there. And he says, you can go in there, just be with him. You can go in there and be with him and stay with him. We'll send the police there. And you stay with this guy. This guy keeps getting calls back from this woman. She's like, I'm in the back of the van. Or she finally says, I'm in a van. It's white. Or was it the daughter who said that? Maybe the daughter confirmed that. So they kind of get some ideas of what kind of car this is. And they get, they pull over one white van, and you're like, you're just you're just listening to this guy listening on the phone, and like, you know, it's quiet and you can hear him listening to the cops pulling a car over. And like, I was sitting there ready for bullets, ready for shots to be fired. I was like, oh my God, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. It never came. But that is successful to me, where it's pulling you in. It's getting you interested, involved. I can't think of what the word is, but it's getting you, you know, into the story where you're like, ooh, ooh, oh, you like, you can breathe a sigh of relief because it didn't happen the way you thought it would. This movie starts to take a brutal turn when the cops show up and they go to find the brother, and the brother, they're like, wait, and you just hear, first thing you hear is like them say, what's that? Oh, what's that on her? Oh, she goes, it's not mine. And you're like, oh my God, are they talking about blood? Oh my God. Oh my God. And they go in to the baby's room, and the cop like goes, oh my God, the baby's dead. The baby's dead. And like, he goes, go back in there and check for sure. He's like, he's dead. He's cut open. Oh my God. And you're like freaking out. What did this guy do? What is this going on? And you find out, well, we find out that it's the dad, and this guy traces the dad's number, calls the dad and says like, we know you have her. We know what you did to your baby. How the hell, you know, you monster, you deserve to be executed. And the dad's like, don't, you know, she wasn't supposed to go in there. And, you know, he hangs up on her. And then later on, she's in the back of the van, and she calls back, and they're kind of having like a heart to heart. And she's like, you know, let's think of something good. You know, where did you last go? Where did you last have fun? And they talked about an aquarium. And I was like, I just went to an aquarium. Oh, no. And she's like, would you like to go to the aquarium sometime? He's like, yes, I would. Like, they were connecting. Because we also find out that this guy's wife left him very subtly. They're like, everyone keeps saying, say hi to Patricia for me. At one point, he's like, she's just talking to himself. He's like, yeah, she moved out. And while she's in the back of the van, he's like, you know, what does he do? He's a bricklayer. Well, there's got to be something back there. Feel around for something. She finds a brick, and she says, when he opens the door, if he pulls you over and he opens the door, you need to hit him hard and run. And then she says, okay, you know, and then she mentions her son. And this is where it took a crazy turn, where she said, you know, it's Oliver, and he's better now. And he's like, I'm sorry? He's better now. He was bad before, but he's better now. He's stopped crying. And you're like, oh shit. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, he had the snakes, was it worms or snakes inside him, and they were infecting him and making him cry. So I took them out of him. And then you realize there's kind of like, I wouldn't say a Shyamalan type twist. Well, I like to use that term. So the big twist is that she's not kidnapped, and they find out where they're heading, and she thinks she's being kidnapped because the dad took her out of the house because she killed the friggin' baby. And then that's why he's like, I shouldn't have left her alone. He calls the dad back. He's like, why didn't you tell me the truth? Why didn't you say anything? She's like, I don't trust you people. You do nothing for me. He's taking her to a psychiatric hospital because you people have failed us over and over. I'm not talking to you about anything. The dad's upset. I shouldn't have left my daughter alone. He's like, she's safe now. But before they did that, she opened the door and she hit him with the brick like he told her to, and she got away, but he luckily woke up. And that's when this Asger was able to converse with the dad. And they're like, you're taking her to a psychiatric hospital. So the whole thing that we thought this woman was kidnapped, she was actually just calling to get away, because she was like pretending to be kidnapped so that she could break away. Because she said, like, I don't want to be locked up. And we thought, is this some psychopath going to lock her up? And that's when I said, wait a minute, now it makes sense. What kidnapper would let a woman use their phone to call their kid, even to pretend to call their kid? The kidnapper would have been like, you know, put it on speakerphone or something, like, or you're not calling anybody. No chance of using that phone. It would have thrown the phone away because it would have been traced. These people had their phones on them the whole time. They didn't care about being traced. They didn't care about, he didn't care about her using the phone because there was no kidnapping. They weren't hiding from anybody. He was just trying to get her to the hospital. And really what this guy, Asghar, he didn't cause any death. He didn't cause any pain, except for the guy getting hit with a brick. But he just kind of, he went above and beyond what he thought he was doing was right, and it just turned out he wasn't right. And later on, she calls back, and you can hear cars, and he goes, why are there cars there? She goes, they're down below. Are you on a bridge? And you think she's going to jump. She's going to jump. And he's like, don't do this. You don't want to do this. She's like, what do you know about pain? She goes, I've killed a man, and I lied about it. I said it was self-defense, but it wasn't. I did it because I could. And like some other cops heard this, so you feel like this guy's life isn't going to go well at the hearing tomorrow. And then you hear she goes, you're a good man. And then you hear the phone, like a boom, and the phone goes dead. And he's like, what? Whatever her name was, Igna, whatever. You're like, oh my God, she committed suicide. She killed herself. Whoa. Oh my God, if he didn't get involved, now I'm like, oh my God, she would have been taken to a hospital. And now this little girl doesn't have a mother and a brother. And then he calls back the dispatch and he says, did you get there? And she goes, yeah, we got there. We got him. We got her. And you realize, the cops got her before she jumped. So they said, good job. And then he gets up finally after staying later, and he heads out to the door. Now all the people in the room seem to be looking at him because at that point they heard him talking about what he did, and he's basically not getting away with it. So honestly, I feel like the guilty in the end is him. He's harbored this guilt for a long time, or as long as it's happened, even though he's trying to get through. I don't know if he's a dirty cop. I don't know if he's done this kind of stuff before, but he was guilty, feeling guilty. He was feeling guilty dealing with these people and feeling guilty that he screwed up with, the twist. But he's also guilty of the shooting that he said was self-defense, but it wasn't. So that's my interpretation. I mean, I don't know if it's interpretation or if it's pretty obvious, but he is the guilty. Guilty. Gustav Mola. I have the Wikipedia page pulled up. This is his debut film. Well, I have to say, even though it's not in my native language of English, this was a heck of a movie, and I want to see what else he is working on. He has another movie coming out. It's announced called Snowblind. Wait a minute. It's based on a comic book? Whoa. Well, I might have to watch it. Or see it. I watch TV shows, I see movies. That's how I talk. Follow a high school teenager who discovers that his family has secretly been in the witness protection program for years, and that someone is now tracking them down. Starring Jake Gyllenhaal? Wait a second. It's all coming back to Jakey, baby. I think I have a crush on Jake Gyllenhaal now after Nightcrawler and then Zodiac. I don't know. I got to go back and catch some of his other movies that I have been skipping all these years. But it's funny I bring up Jakey G, because this guy seems to be directing him, or at least he's attached to this movie. I don't know how far along we are. But okay, and I assume he's not the high school teenager, though. I'm sure he could still play one, Dreamboat. But what's funny is, this movie, The Guilty, is being remade. It's being remade with Antoine Fuqua. And it's got quite a few people in it that are interesting, actual actors that I will recognize, including Jake Gyllenhaal. Then we've got Ethan Hawke, Paul Dano, Peter Skarsgård, Bill Burr. Yowzer. When I was talking to Chris, I think he said there are a lot of names in here you're going to recognize. Yes, there are. And these better all be voices. I better not. I don't care if we get one guy who sits next to him, like the guy in this movie who just helps him with something on the computer. But yes, I do not want to see any of these people. I don't want anything to be different. Look, I'm always going to enjoy the original. The original will be the story, and this is, But I am looking forward to see what this is. This remake is going to be. I mean, it's directed by Antoine Fuqua, who's directed Southpaw. Oh no, he produced Southpaw. Wait a minute, did he direct Southpaw too? Now I want to know if he did. The Guilty is already completed. Yes, he did direct Southpaw. And those Equalizer movies, I have to tell you, I kind of want to see those Denzel movies. I feel like if it's anything where it's a man who kills a bunch of people, like if it's almost like him doing Man on Fire again, or like a John Wick, or like a Nobody, I'm in. So I feel like I need to watch that again. But yeah, interesting. This movie's already completed. Do I watch a remake of a movie that I've already watched for a future movie month? The answer is yes, I would do that. So, but I'm talking about this movie today, still back in 2018, still back in Denmark, the country where this movie was created. I know these things. And I just have to say I am very happy that I watched it. It is a simple watch because, again, it's under 90 minutes. It's on Hulu if you're watching Hulu. And it just works. This guy, it's, again, I said 97, 98% of the movie is him. And when you're never taking your eyes off this guy, you're either listening to him, talk, or you're watching him react. That's it. I've heard the term, people say acting is reacting. Where you're acting with someone, you're just kind of trying to really react to how they're acting. And this guy was like, and when I say carry the movie, you could say that all the time. Oh, this guy carried the movie. This guy was the anchor of this movie. When it's like I said, a one-man play. This guy was the movie, and he was spectacular. And I don't want to hold anything in this remake against anybody. So I will just judge that as its own thing. But for this, my friends, I have to say, big thumbs up, and thank you, Christopher. So with that, my friends, I say Saturday is in the books. Day 26 is in the books, and can you believe we only have 4 more movies left? It's shocking, but I'm pretty sure I know what those 4 are, and I hope you join me for all 4 of them. So with that, my friends, you know where to find me. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Geek Mentality. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts. The website is Fans.Experts. You are really cool for listening to all these episodes. And me, I'm the host of my podcast. That doesn't make any sense. Of course, I'm the host of my podcast. I'm the host of this podcast, too, which, again, makes sense because I'm the one talking. Yep, I've hit the point where I keep rambling. So I'm going to stop myself right now and just say what I always say. Here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.